Hey all, it's Kayla, the mastermind behind Edgelords, and you may be wondering why I'm not showing my face in this video. That's because I've been having the hardest time with recording software, as it keeps crashing in one way or another. I originally filmed this in California a long time ago, but after looking at the footage in 2022, I was not happy with the final outcome, as there would be random times with awkward freeze frames, and they just looked bad, like really outdated. And this would have been fine if I was just starting to make videos, but I've been doing Burning the Pages for 5 years now, and I want my videos to actually look good. So instead of re-recording everything from scratch, I decided to use my avatar while keeping the original audio. So you may hear a difference in sound quality. With all that said, this is Burning the Pages episode 5. Welcome back to Burning the Pages, the series where I look at fanfiction I wrote as a teenager and make fun of it as an adult. This is part 2 of episode 4, as it was too long to cover in one episode, so if you haven't seen episode 4 yet, go and do that, or I'll just have Keira do a recap.
Last time on Elite Senshi, a whole lot of shit went down. I had someone stalk me for a school project. Her name was Karu, though Little Edge kept spelling her name wrong because I guess she didn't know how to use spell check. Anyway, Karu is actually Static Beauty and the Green Goddess. However, she's a lone wolf and didn't want to join us right away. Oh, and also, I just found out I have a 9-year-old little brother? So, that's what you missed on Elite Senshi.
Thanks, Keira. We continue our story with Karu having insomnia.
Later that night, Koru can't sleep.
Verb tenses. The sentence should be later that night Karu couldn't sleep. Don't use present tense unless you're going to be consistent with it.
Hold it right there!
Keira, watch out!
Huh?
Princess! Evil is nearby.
She got up and ran into Kira's room.
Wake up. I sense danger.
Huh?
What's with all these characters sensing things? Okay, as someone who's dabbled in metaphysics and spirituality, allow me to explain psychic sensations. Keep in mind, I do not consider myself a professional psychic, but I've awoken my third eye. So, there's something that some psychics have called clairvoyance, where they see images in their mind. These visions are usually vague symbols, as there's no definite answers in the psychic world. And if a psychic gives you specific details, most of the time, they're lying. So if I were to incorporate clairvoyance in Elite Senshi, how would I do that? Well, I'd foreshadow the upcoming battle by having Karu dream about it. It's up to you about how vivid you want your dream sequence to be, but most psychic visions of mine come in fragments. Imagine a jigsaw puzzle with a few missing pieces. Speaking of missing pieces, Keira doesn't question Karu's antics, and she and Toji follow her. And then we have a pretty cringy attempt at comedy.
Koru went out the back door and jumped over the fence. Toji and Keira followed along. Toji jumped over the fence after Koru.
Guys, I'm scared.
She had never jumped over a fence before.
Come on, you can do it!
Will you catch me if I fall?
I asked. Wait, who am I? Have I been Keira this whole time? Has my whole life been a lie? I mean, how could I have gone all these years without even noticing a clue?
Are you okay, man?
Hey, narrator, chill out. Little Edge just wrote I instead of Keira, okay? It happens with self-insert characters sometimes.
Oh, thank God. For a moment there I thought I was going crazy.
Yes!
Keira slowly got up on the fence and quickly fell to the ground.
wow. Just wow. This would have been a lot funnier if the story slowed down a bit and actually focused on the comedy. Instead, it would rather speed through from one plot point to another. Writing comedy is different than writing a story because comedy is subjective to the reader. And to write a slapstick scene like this, it's going to be a bit challenging because this type of comedy is very visual. So, how do we fix this? Through actions and wordplay. But before we even talk about actions, we need to talk about character building. Character building is more than the character's appearance or what their personality is like. You also have to focus on how they move, which is something Elite Senshi really doesn't explore other than Karu's a dancer. Which is fine, but you could do more to that. For example, I'd make Karu a prima ballerina, and every movement that she makes is very graceful. So for this particular scene, I'd make Karu hop over the fence with such elegance that it looks like she's doing an arabesque. In contrast, I'd make Keira absent-minded and clumsy. She's the type of person who will get easily entranced into her own thoughts. So in my revision, she may be thinking to herself on how beautiful Karu is and spaces out until she realizes that Karu is several feet ahead of her and Toji prompts her to jump over the fence. Now, here's where wordplay comes into the mix. Certain words have comedic elements, while others don't. Even if the scene is nicely set up, the sentence "she quickly fell to the floor" doesn't feel like a punchline. So instead, you could say...
Keira had finally reached the top of the fence. She admired her victory, but suddenly felt gravity push her down as she face-planted into her neighbor's yard.
Ow.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
They ran up Keira's street, past another block. There was the evil in someone's house.
Get away from me!
A man yelled from inside.
Isn't this breaking and entering?
Not if you're saving someone's life. I'm pretty sure it's still considered breaking and entering.
Koru said, running toward the house. They got to the house and the lights turned on. The three watched the evil in the man's house. That wasn't any ordinary man. That was Datara, one of the 9th graders in Keira's school. Then there was another man who looked like he was from Grimm trying to do something to him.
Do something? Really? Did younger me give up halfway through the story? No, because we still have another 1,500 words to go.
Show me the gem, boy.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Then I'll have to take it from you.
Transform!
Right! Orange Goddess power!
Static beauty power makeup!
Are here too?
A figure asked.
Megumi! Satomi! What are you doing here?
Satomi and Megumi appeared in the light. They were already in Senshi form.
What about Chi and Junko? They were part of the school battle, why aren't they here now? Maybe they went home? After all, Chi and Junko live an hour and a half away from the other Senshi. If for some reason you have main characters living in separate locations, you can make them relevant to the story. Take Game of Thrones, for example. The series has multiple POVs and has different locations that tie in together. This way your story is organized and your characters have something to do rather than just sitting around. Let's see if they show up. Spoiler alert, they don't.
We heard yelling here. We wanted to investigate.
Let's go inside.
Wait. What are you doing here?
I have to shadow Keira for the whole day.
That's creepy.
Our school is weird. Don't question it.
hide before Dater gets hurt!
Elite Senshi, you're just in time. I got the final crystal, and there's nothing you can do now.
Damn! We're too late.
But don't worry, I left you a little surprise.
He snapped, and a demon ram came crashing into Satomi, sucking the life out of her.
What's with the villains not actually putting up a fight? Why do they need monsters to protect them? How do you think the monsters feel about this? Anyway, while the Senshi are distracted, Yellow pulls Keira aside.
Let's go. I still need to talk to you.
No, let go of me!
She yelled and stomped on his foot.
Bitch.
Yoru said, slapping her across the face. She winced. He grabbed her and dragged her upstairs.
You'll do what I say, or your beauty will be gone.
What?
I don't know. I'll make you a deal. You fight me, and whoever is dead first, the alive gets to keep the gems.
You're on!
Then there's another awkward fight scene, and it's been a while and I would normally skip over this, but I'll show you this one in its beautiful, horrendous glory.
Don't be so cocky, Orange Goddess. Remember, your friends can't help you. They're downstairs. Keira ignored him and charged a punch at him. He grabbed her wrist. Wait a second. Am I supposed to say this line? There's no ending quotation mark. I'm confused.
So am I.
Look, just do what the story says, okay?
Fine.
He punched her in the stomach. She fell to the floor. She slowly got to the floor and tried to charge again. He smirked at Kira's attempt. But luckily Keira had the gems from her second attempt. She wasn't trying to hurt him.
Now you're finished.
Keira said, holding the gems in her hand.
Because that's what you say when you aren't trying to hurt someone in a fight. Also, how the fuck did Keira get a hold of those gems? Okay, yes, I know she's kind of sort of a ninja, but did she use Shadow Clone Jutsu and the narrator just forgot to tell us that? Because that's an important plot point that the reader should know about. My god, this story is stupid. So with the gems in hand, something starts happening to Keira.
She opened the box that had her gems. The gems formed a circle, then became one.
Now to find who the princess is.
I sense the princess is upstairs.
Toji told the Senshi. They were finished fighting the rams. The four ran upstairs. They saw Keira in a different outfit. A golden strapless gown was on her body. She wore pearls around her wrist and her neck. White high heels appeared on her feet.
Keira is evolving!
What will she become?
Who's that Pokemon? It's Mary Sue!
Mary Sue! Mary Sue!
And the Senshi try to kill Yellow, and it's super effective.
Yoro, I'm sending you back where you came from.
Keira pulled out her harp.
What's with all the inconsistencies in the story? Didn't Keira upgrade to a wand? I mean, she used it earlier in the story.
No, you wouldn't.
I will! Magical Melody!
Senshi, help the princess fight!
Okay.
Gentle
Lightning. Dance. Flash.
Golden Blaze Cut!
Damn it. Damn it.
Yoro yelled, and he died. His corpse turned into ashes. Keira turned back into her normal self and fainted in Toji's arms.
But wait, there's more story!
Ed, how long is this story?
I feel like we've been reading this story for hours.
Hey, at least some of you guys aren't even in this story. I'm the one who has to read most of this shit.
We don't have much, it's just 4 plot threads to go through.
Kill me.
First, there's the aftermath of the battle.
Are Orange Goddess!
Keira Hime.
You're not part of our team, so why do you care?
My mission was specifically to protect Keira Hime, so I decided to join you.
Yay! Can we be friends now?
Yes.
Okay, no. You cannot do that to your anti-hero. Your anti-hero is supposed to be someone who opposes the main protagonist but isn't really the villain. Oftentimes they have the same goal as the protagonist, but usually there's some sort of conflict between the two characters, either because their morals are different or there's a misunderstanding between the two.
And now it's time for another game of How Would You Fix This Scene? With your host, Edgelordess.
In the previous episode, I had mentioned that Karu has awoken her powers at a very early age. She discovered her powers by accident. Except unlike the other Senshi, Karu didn't have a mentor like Keira does, and she has to learn how to control her powers on her own. Building off of that, my new version of Karu feels guilty about the death of her parents and devoted her life to religion in order to seek forgiveness. On top of that, she's also a bit of a zealot. She refuses to believe that she had a past life on Hearts and believes that a god granted her these powers for some sort of purpose. This is why Karu doesn't join the Senshi right away, as she feels that she's a chosen one and that Keira and the others are unworthy. The other Senshi try to explain their mission, which Karu refuses to accept. The only reason why she hangs out around the other Senshi is so she doesn't feel alone. But when Kira is revealed to be the princess, this would be a turning point for Karu as her worldview changes and she becomes more skeptical of her previous beliefs, thus closing her arc. Pacing your story like this makes your reader understand your character's motivations. By speeding through critical plot points, you're basically telling the reader that none of these characters are important, and by doing so, your readers won't be invested, because if the author's bored, the readers will be bored too.
Congratulations! On to round 2!
Sweet.
For this scene, you'll need to rebuild Daedara's character. We'll play the scene first, and then you have to fix it.
I'm ready.
Roll the clip!
What's going on here?
He saw Keira in Toji's arms. His eyes widened.
Alright, Edgelordess. After this line from the narrator, the story jumps to the next scene. Daedara has no reaction on why Keira looks different or what happened to that villain. So, how would you fix this scene?
Little Edge is trying to make the scene more suspenseful, but it doesn't really work because of the lack of character action, specifically with Daedara. For our main character, he's forgotten about through most of Elite Senshi, so his relationship with Keira is uninteresting. So, if I were to fix this character's relationship, I'd go back many episodes to give Daedara more screen time in order to indicate that these two would later become a couple. And this one scene in particular is very important as it's the catalyst for their relationship. So if I were to write this scene, I'd make Daedara fight alongside the Senshi in his civilian form. After Toji senses the princess being upstairs, there are still monsters to fight, so Daedara volunteers to slay them himself while the others go upstairs. He joins the others right after the boss is defeated and sees Toji in his human form with Keira in his arms and takes this the wrong way. And there is some awkward romantic tension between Keira and Daedara. And this would be drawn out for several chapters because otherwise it's poorly paced just like the story.
Congratulations! You just won a free studded belt!
Sweet, but I was expecting an all-inclusive trip to Jamaica or something.
Look, we are a show on a budget, okay? Now can you review the rest of the story? I have a day job to attend to. Game show host out.
Okay then. Anyway, we cut to the baddies where there's more unnecessary characters. Meet Verta and Hotoni, who really aren't important except for the fact that they switch genders in the next episode.
Back on Grimm, a lady with long red hair snickered at Yoru's death.
I knew he would die like this, Verta.
She said. A man with long white hair and crystal blue eyes nodded.
Now that's a good place to add a character description as it shows that there's another character in the room with Hotoni. I'd like it to be a bit more descriptive though, as hair and eye color can be a bit vague. Instead of describing the colors of the features, you can describe the character's appearance by explaining their postures, actions, clothing, or even facial features. So instead of...
A man with long white hair and crystal blue eyes nodded.
You can say...
She sat across from a man who was dressed head to toe in a leather suit. facing away from her as he gazed out the window.
This way, your readers get a better picture of what the character looks like and what the character is doing.
We should talk to Rubia-sama.
Okay.
They went into Rubia's chamber. She was sitting on her chair like she did every day.
Rubia, what should we do about Yoro?
I don't need him. What I need is the crystal, Hotani.
How do we get that?
There is 3 ways. One way is if the Ascent Aquamarine extraction spell is chanted. Another way is if she is killed. And the final way is if a magical being makes love to her.
Wait, so is it like a kidney stone? How does that work?
Maybe she orgasms crystals or something?
This story is weird.
Let me explain. So, here's the backstory for Rubia's last line. I was a weird kid, and there was just words I avoided in everyday conversation because I thought if I ever used them, I'd just be sent to the Jewish equivalent to hell or something. And what Ruby is referring to, in case you didn't know, was sex. Now, there's all kinds of different kinds of sex. There's making love, which is very different than kinky, wild, messy sex. So I'm a bit confused why the villains are amused by this. Is Keira in love with one of them? Because if that's the case, this would make sense. And then it gets even weirder because the female henchman suggests,
We should have a threesome!
Her and Verda were lovers.
oh my god, I need a cold shower after this. In the next scene, there's resolution between Deidara's and Keira's relationship. Sort of.
So I passed out? What exactly happened?
I think you used all your energy last night. But Deidara found out we were Senshi and...
No! He didn't! Oh, I want to keep my magical powers. The magical court doesn't want me exposing my powers to non-magical figures.
What magical court? You want to explain, narrator? Oh, sorry, let me take this. I don't normally take calls in the middle of filming, but this is important. It's from my director. Hello? Payne?
It was mentioned in one of the lost episodes. You know, the ones I told you to review before you released this episode. It actually explains the plot thread as it says...
I told you I was never reviewing those. I'm focused on this episode where the subplot is never explained. Anyway, let's continue.
Keira-san, I'm sorry.
I need to be alone. Go without me.
Koru didn't budge.
Go!
Keira sat on the sidewalk and cried a little.
Keira-chan.
A man's voice said. She looked up to see Deidara's concerned face.
Why are you sulking?
That you found out my secret.
Keira, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, okay? You're kinda digging yourself in a bigger hole because you just announced that to him.
So what? I'm not telling anyone.
You don't understand! The magical court of hearts will take my powers away. I want to protect this world so I can...
So you can what?
So I can be with you, Deidara-kun! Because I'm in love with you! I've been in love with you since I met you, but you never noticed me, and when you did, you teased me just like the other boys do. I must go.
I feel like this is one romantic cliche after another. There's rain while the female is crying, there's an awkward love confession, and very cliche dialogue. Also, I'd cue Careless Whisper, but the story's too stupid to deserve it.
I love you, Keira-chan.
No, you don't. You just want to use me.
No, Keira, you don't understand. When I first met you, I wasn't sure about my feelings. So I asked my guy friends what I should do. They said to be the badass jerk and pretend I wasn't interested. However, I always protected you when you were teased. But now I'm sure how I feel.
Wow, Deidara's kind of a jerk when you think about it. So then Deidara takes Keira back to his place where they have even more awkward sexual tension, and not the good kind of awkward either.
You can use my sister's bathroom. She won't be home until summer vacation. I'll put your clothes in the wash.
Thank you.
Keira shyly said. She didn't remove anything.
What are you waiting for?
Alright, stop.
Is there something wrong?
Yes, there is. Dude, you're supposed to leave the bathroom. I know you're a horny teenage boy, but god damn, have some decency.
But I
don't care. Kids watch this show, and I don't want them getting the wrong idea that this behavior is appropriate.
Fine. I'll be more gentlemanly next time.
You got this, dude.
I don't want you watching me while I change.
Oh, sorry, I'll be in my room then. And by that, I mean, I'll be giving myself some self-love while thinking about you and your naked body.
Oh god, that's even worse.
He left the room. Keira stripped off her clothes and took a hot bath.
Damn, she is hot.
He was peeping through the slightly cracked door.
This episode needs to be castrated. I swear, every other scene in this episode is sexual one way or another. And this scene continues going on for another 2 paragraphs until the story finally ends.
When Keira was finally dressed, it was still raining.
I'll get my umbrella. Have you ever seen Death Note?
No,
they walked to school and talked for a while.
Come over and watch it sometime.
Thank you so much for helping me. But I have one more favor to ask of you.
What's that, Kira-chan?
Kiss me once more?
Wait, did these two kiss previously? Anyway, that's how the episode ends. Finally. So, that was Hidden Senshi. What did I think about it? Honestly, it's one of my favorite episodes because of how silly it is. I honestly don't know what was going through my head at the time I wrote this episode, as every other scene is filled with something sexual. There's also a lot of filler I skipped over for time's sake. Though if you want to read the whole thing, check out my DeviantArt page while it's still available and isn't taken down for plagiarism. So the next episode is a direct continuation of the episode we just read, and it's full of drama. In the meantime, I'm going to wash off some of the stank from this bizarre, horny episode. Till next time.
People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. It's a fine day. People open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. Na 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 na. It's going to be a fine night tonight. It's going to be a fine day tomorrow. It's going to be a fine night tonight. It's going to be a fine